Mastercard is tightening its requirements for banks that process payments for sellers of adult content. Banks will now have to confirm that sellers require clear, unambiguous consent when it comes to adult content and ensure websites document the age and verify the identity of anyone depicted in pictures and videos. That move by the credit card giant comes after its decision late last year that it would no longer allow its cards to be used on Pornhub.com, a move taken in large part only after the publication of a column by our next guest that accused the website of distributing videos depicting child abuse and non-consensual violence. Columnist for the New York Times, Nick Kristof, joins us now with his latest column on the issue entitled, "Why Do We Let Corporations Profit from Rape Videos?" Also with us, New York University law professor Melissa Murray. Nick, let's read from your column. You write in part, quote, "It happens all over the world. Women and girls and men and boys are sexually assaulted or secretly filmed, and then video is posted on a major website like Xvideos that draws traffic through search engines. While the initial video assault may be brief, the attack on dignity becomes interminable. The exploitation is rooted not in a single company, but in an industry that operates with impunity, and punishing one corporation may simply benefit its rivals. Google is a pillar of this sleazy ecosystem. Google does have limits. I tried searching, 'How do I poison my husband?' and the results were literary or humorous, not how-to instructions. The top responses, 'How do I commit suicide?' were also for a suicide hotline. So, Google, why not demonstrate the same responsibility when it comes for searches for rape videos? Without accountability, corporations are tempted to avert their eyes. The most exploitative companies profit the most, and this creates a race to the bottom. The cost is borne by unsuspecting children and adults. And Nick, you couldn't be more right. Google couldn't be more hypocritical. And a lot of these social media companies are right behind. There are no limits. There's no ability to sue. There's a million reasons why this can happen with impunity. And I think our younger generations of men and women are going to suffer the most.
Yeah, as I was writing this, one of the stories that really shook me involved a 16-year-old girl who took a photo of herself naked in front of the bathroom mirror and Snapchatted it to her boyfriend with the words, "I love you, I trust you." Well, he shared it with five. He took a screenshot. He shared it with 5 of his friends. They shared it with 43 of their friends. And soon it was everywhere and on foreign sites. And Google was helping people find those images. She had been a good student. All of a sudden, she didn't want to go to school. She ended up dropping out of school. The family moved twice. They couldn't escape it. And she ended up taking her own life. Look, she did a really dumb thing. Her boyfriend did something that was dumb and cruel, but you shouldn't have companies seizing upon those mistakes and sharing them with the world.
Well, and I talk about the younger generation, and this hurts all generations, but it's like giving the teenage brain a loaded gun in so many ways. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea the dangers. They have no idea what trust means and all sorts of things at a very young age when their minds are still developing. And yet, Michelle, we're looking at these children getting destroyed or destroying themselves, trying to use these things like adults. Is there any way that companies like Google can be held accountable?
Mika, I think Nick has sort of hit the nail on its head with his column. One of the things that we've seen come up in the absence of government regulation, there's been a lot of discussion about amending Section 230, which is the part of the Communications Decency Act that provides internet providers with a safe harbor against liability in situations like this. But in lieu of that kind of government regulation, Others have suggested that we see other kinds of informal sanctions, like the kind you saw at the top of the story with MasterCard refusing to process those kinds of credit card payments unless there is proof established that these were transactions that were not done in violation of other laws or that involved individuals who couldn't give consent. So just as we're seeing in the context of police violence or voter suppression, the private sector step in to provide some kind of boundaries. I think we're seeing that here as well. But all of this, again, is happening because of an absence of government regulation.
And Nick Kristof, I want you to jump in and we'll kind of hone in what needs to be done. But first, Melissa, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I get your name right. Melissa, thank you for your response. Nick Kristof, what needs to happen to stem this growing violence on people who are unsuspecting victims?
Well, I think there's a misperception that it's hopeless and that if you, go after one company, then another will pop up. And sure, it's difficult, but these same companies like Xvideos or Pornhub, they don't show pirated videos. And they don't show pirated videos because we have laws about intellectual property. We have accountability for stealing somebody else's pirated videos. And if the privacy were as much of a national priority, if the law was as vigorous in providing accountability for violations of privacy, for ruining a kid's life, as it is for stealing somebody's video, then these companies would, require consent. They would. One of the most heartbreaking things that was happening was, a kid's video would go on one of these websites. The kid would beg to the website, plead for it to be taken down, and it wouldn't take it down. And the kids would have to pretend to be lawyers. And so, I think the simplest solution is simply to allow lawsuits against these companies, and that will lead them to self-discipline.
Melissa, do you agree? I mean, what can we get when there is a damaging video or a video of someone who did not expect to be put online? Especially if it is personal in nature. Why can't they be taken down? It seems so simple.
Well, again, it does seem simple. I think the broader question here is that you have a delicate balance to strike between innovation on the one hand and regulation on the other. And it's been said that the Communications Decency Act and Section 230 are the 26 words that made the internet. The fact that it is relatively free of government regulation has been what has allowed the internet to flourish as a site of innovation, economic innovation, and certainly technological innovation. But as you say, there have to be some kinds of boundaries. And I think we are moving in that direction. There's been a lot of discussion about platform liability, whether it's for race discrimination or for situations like this involving sex trafficking. And we've seen some changes there, and I imagine we will see some going forward. But everyone is trying to balance these two countervailing interests in innovation and economic success. And on the other hand, making sure that the internet remains a safe place for children and other vulnerable parties.
Nick Kristof and Melissa Murray, thank you both very much for being on the show this morning. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.